In this video, I'll be teaching you how to start tomatoes and peppers in large 3-inch peat pellets. It's not too late to plant tomatoes and peppers indoors in April because you can plant in June and harvest them in fall, depending upon the variety you grow. Or follow these instructions 6 weeks before your last frost date and you'll be ready to plant in spring. Let's get started. So I'm just going to use these Jiffy peat pellets. These are the 3-inch ones. This is the first year that I've used these, and I like them because they eliminate the need for one of the transplants in between, or it could eliminate the need for transplant at all or after planting the initial seed. So I'm just opening these up a bit to give myself a little bit of room to work. Okay, so what I like to do with these is I like to take a pencil, if I can find a pencil, poke holes in the soil. I'm just going to use the back of this pen just because it's what's here. Because the pole beans are going to be planted about 1 inch down in here, and I'm going to plant 2 seeds in each pod, or pellet, I'm sorry. Also, what I like to do is I like to use this pea and blossom booster. Basically, it's a soil inoculant for certain kinds of seeds. So what I'm doing is I'm adding a pinch of the inoculant into each of these holes, and what that's going to do is to enable each of these plants to be able to pull nitrogen right from the air. Green beans are really nitrogen needy, so this is going to be good for them. So here's the seeds I'm going to use. These are rattlesnake pole beans. I got these from Baker Creek. The reason I use rattlesnake pole beans versus something like Bush Blue Lake or whatever is because these ones tend to do better in the heat than the Blue Lake ones for me. And this will be my first year of doing, you know, a succession plantings of these, so I'm hoping that I'll actually get more than just a couple of dinners worth of these. And so I'm just poking these down. And I'm doing this video with the assumption that you understand how to plant in these pellets. And basically all you do is they come in these flat, I'll grab one for you. They come in these flat forms, just like the smaller seed pellets, but these ones are bigger. They have them in the stores now, like at Walmart, in these containers, or in the larger ones that usually hold 72 of the smallers, but they hold 36, and this one just holds 16. So they look like this. And in the same way that you activate the other smaller peat pellets, you would do the same. It just takes a lot more water. Okay, so I've got my row of rattlesnake pole beans there, and I'm going to put this here for a moment so I don't forget what I've done. The next thing I'm going to do is Roma tomatoes, and I actually have plenty of tomatoes started, but oh, I'm making these too deep. For tomatoes, because they're such tiny seeds, you're going to want to just plant them just under the soil, so you can see that they're just really small seeds. So I'm just going to put 3 in kind of in a triangle pattern. See? And I better put glasses on. 3 in each one. Because later I'll either be able to choose the strongest seed and just keep that and clip off the others, or I can break this pellet apart because it's so large. I can break this pellet apart and have 3 plants. So being that I want to can some tomato products this year, and Roma's along with San Marzano and a few others are really the best choice for canning because they're so meaty and not super liquidy. They do really well for sauces and things like that. So I have a few already planted, but I'd like to have more. I guess it's insurance. So, okay, so there's the Romas. And I did 3 seeds in a triangle pattern. And just to recap on the rattlesnake pole beans, this goes for any kind of beans. I just did, 1 on either side and planted those about 1 inch down. So I'm going to put those there. The next one is a jalapeno that I've been growing over the past few years. Jalapeno, it's Craig's Grande. You'd think that they'd be super huge, but they're pretty normal size. I really like them. They're nice and beefy, I guess you could say. They're nice and thick, good tasting. So I'm going to go ahead and do these the same way as I did the tomatoes because they're a small seed again. So I'll just do 3. And I'm sorry for when my arm gets in the way, but I do hope you're able to see what I'm doing. Because as it stands, I am the only one filming. I don't have a camera person, so it's just me. And so I've got to use a tripod. Okay, so there's our jalapenos. And I really love these peppers. These are actually my favorites so far. I did some serranos last year too, and I think they were called Serrano Tampiqueño, and those were from Baker Creek, as well as the Craig's Grandes that I'm planting today. And those ones have been really good for me. I really enjoyed those peppers, and we've gotten a lot of peppers from these. So we're just gonna poke those down in there and just cover them with the soil. And just keep on working those in. And the last one is a burpee seed that I found this year, and it just looks like it's just a blend of all sorts of different peppers. So I'm kind of excited to see what I might get from these. So I'm going to do 3 seeds in each pellet again, just like the tomatoes and just like the last batch of peppers. Trying to keep my arm out of the way, so if it looks weird, it's because I'm positioning it weird. So you can see what I'm doing. Oops, lost one. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm doing this second round of seedlings because I want to have something to put into the garden in the event that one of my plants dies or gets attacked by pests or something like that. I want to have something in. It's my insurance policy that I'm going to be getting fruit this year that I can put away for my family. Okay, so now that I have all of my seeds planted, I'm going to make sure to mark each type. And because I know that I usually will do, you know, what looks to me as vertical rows in front of me, rather than horizontal rows, I'll just put them on the very last, or the very back pellet. And I just use these toothpicks with blue tape, and if you happen to read my blog or watch my videos for any length of time, you're gonna know that I use blue tape for everything, and that I just really like to use what I've got and what's practical. And so that's what I do. The next thing I'm going to do now that the seeds are planted is I'm going to wet them, give them a good spray on the top. And the reason for this is because I want the seeds not to be waterlogged, but I want them to be nice and moist. So I'm going to give them a good spray. Even though all of these pellets are wet, I want to do this to make sure that the seeds germinate.
Tomatoes and peppers germinate best with heat, so I'm going to set these here over one of our heater vents. We don't have too much heat coming out of there, but hopefully it'll be just enough to keep them warm at night. In the daytime, I'll put them in a sunny window to keep the heat as even as I can.
Now that I've planted my seeds, my peppers and tomatoes, they're going to probably germinate nicely, I'm hoping.